and this subject. First one is not on there, but I wanted to say it first. I think those of us who are on church staffs have the most dangerous job in the world related to this spiritual condition in some ways, because we have to show God's love. We have to show that we're spiritual. Now, take my words carefully, but you know what I mean. We have to love the Scriptures and teach the Scriptures, or should. And even if it's not real to us, we're not going to get up. A few people have done it, but I never have got up and said, I really don't have much to say today. This was a hard week. Or I don't really feel some of this that I'm going to say. You just have to do it. Meaning, you can fake it. And if you're a youth teacher, and all of us have done that at times, or at least been less than really into it, and we all vow we'll never preach something we're not practicing and all that. I understand that. But then even worse than that, I'm just presenting the negative, people put us on a pedestal that we can start believing. And that's true in any kind of Christian work. They want a hero up front. Women wish they could have a man that's that spiritual. I mean, just candidly, it's a dangerous job. And, you know, I know that, you know that, I've experienced it, I've fought with it, and one of the best things you can do as a staff is be candid with each other about it. And, you that are men and have preached a good sermon, I remember one, it was just a joke. I had two. Women will greet us and admire what we just said and never even say hello to our wives or look at them. It's a dangerous job, and we all know that. This year, if you were keeping track, people fell with pride from large pastorates, with alcohol, with control, with women, and with finances. And it's the first time some of those have been national people who, on the control issue or the ego issue. It's a huge battle for everyone. I don't think it relates just to size of church. All right, that's my warning to me and to you. Number one, this may be our highest priority and greatest contribution to the church. I really believe that. I pastored two churches. When I left, both of them, one with Great Depression over a year of deciding to move to Akron, but the other one with a planned redeployment kind of thing to do what I'm doing today. Very few people mentioned the content of one sermon, even though there were three good ones. Three. I remembered another while I was talking. They were all the same day. We used to have 3 services. But many people talked about our marriage or way we treated kids or talking to people in wheelchairs or a sense of not acting like a big deal. It's your highest priority of your church is how you love God and Christ. Number 2, we need spiritual vitality and motivations for the rigors of leading and caring for people. If you're not strong personally, people are mean. I know there are none in your church, but I coach churches now, and recently I leaned into a guy who's in his 80s and chairman of a board, and I said, you guys are being mean to each other and to this pastor, and it's crazy. If I don't you're not going to lose your temper, and you're not going to hurt anybody, but if you don't have strong spirit, you're not going to be up for confronting somebody who's been mean or hurting people, or even the little thing of an organist that plays all skate. You better be strong spiritually to help others. Number 3, we're going to have a discussion of this on the panel. I think it'll be interesting because I know I'm right on this, and I know many of you don't agree with me. Spiritual prep should help our spirits every week, and if the three hearts of preaching is one easy way to summarize it. God's heart, find out what he really meant when he wrote this. My heart, it's got to really get into my heart. Third one is, how do you get it into their heart so they want to do it? All of our preparation for teaching youth or a sermon or whatever we're preparing can be, here's the good side of it, can be used to build our souls and should be. Number 4. Here's some things that have helped me. Prayer partners. Janine says it's the best thing I ever did at Winona Lake, wherever I lived. Where was it? It helped my memory. I just looked at you, Kip, and I thought Winona Lake. At Akron. In 1987, we asked for 87 men to pray for the church every Friday morning early. I've talked about it before. And we got 88. It was a miracle. It was because I preached a good sermon the Sunday before. It was the same day I mentioned 3. Prayer partners were men who prayed for character and for the church. And we started it after I heard about a church in Arizona, true story, where people of the church were in a meeting to pray, and they were visiting in a home of someone who had visited the church, and those people were there praying against the church and that the pastor would fall. Now that sounds spooky, and I'm not into spooky, but they were Satan worshipers who had visited the church the week before, several of them, and were praying that pastor would fall. And when our staff discussed that, the 5 of us who were staff leaders decided we would start prayer partners and pray about character and the church. And women pray well in generalities, and men are terrible at it in generalities. And I think it's still going strong. Number 5, I urge people to teach this to the church all the time. I like ABFs, Adult Bible Fellowships, any kind of group, but I like the term ABFs, Sunday groups, home groups. Most of them pray like 16 accidents and surgeries. So we began teaching PRAY, praise, repent, ask, yield. Every Sunday prayer I did from that day on was PRAY. And every group was praise, where people give one sentence praise, and then repent is quiet. Ask as you get in groups, and pray for something you're worried about. Somebody backs it up. There's a whole paper I have on it. I just beg you, go into an ABF, a home group, whatever you call it, and listen to the prayer requests, and they're all accidents and surgeries. If you do it this way, most people will pray, and they'll bring up character issues or their daughter or witnessing. Number 6, accountability. Whatever you do. I always had two groups of 5 men each. One was discipleship. Every 2 years we changed that and started 3 out of each group. But one of them was accountability. And at Akron, for me, 25 years, the same 5 or 6 men. And there we were honest. One of them said, I'm always 98% honest, and we all laughed because people do hold back, and we all do at times. But at least you could say there, hey, help me with this, and you trusted them. I beg you to have, if you're a pastor, another pastor, 2 of you, 3 of you together who are honest. You can be honest, you can swear, you can say, I'm looking at this TV program and I shouldn't. I remember saying in my group, I watched Dancing with the Stars last night for 10 minutes. Don't ever let me watch it again. I don't care if you can watch it. I couldn't. And whatever, accountability with another pastor, or say I'm really teed off at the worship guy. If it's a volunteer, you can't be, but if he's staff, that's allowed. Number 7, preaching and pastoring will get old without a strong spirit. That's almost the same thing as I said earlier about number 2, but I have always had to grapple with my spirit and work hard at Philippians 2, work out your own salvation. I always worked out physically sometimes didn't work out enough spiritually. And when I did work out, and I still do, God would work in me. But I think otherwise it gets to be a job. And if you lose heart or it's not a calling and a love, I want to tell you, I coach a lot of young pastors now, and I'm not picking on age, but I'm just saying they like Andy Stanley better than hard work sometimes. And he's the one that said you should work 40 hours a week. I always say that's fine. If you can speak as well as he, and you get 2,000 people from your dad's church, and you have as much money in the church as he has, I think you can do it in 40 hours. And they don't like that answer. And you probably don't either, but I said it. It gets old without that. Number 8, the plumber issue. I have 20 seconds. You know the story. There were leaks in his own home, and he was a plumber because he was always out. I must take care of my own marriage and help our own children. We have 5 seconds.